So McCall's just released their latest collection, which is the Summer of 2022 collection. Let's talk about it. Hi friends, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the McCall's latest pattern release, which is the Summer of 2022. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and my opinions, including patterns that I didn't like and patterns that I might pick up. So let's get started and let's look at some of these patterns. So let's go ahead and start with the McCall's M8331, which is a women's dresses for plus sizes. So you can select the size 20W to 28W, or you can select the size 30W to 38W. Now they do have this pattern in a smaller size, and I'll be talking about that here after I talk about this one. But this is definitely a pattern for your plus size category. Now, I did see that on the McCall's Instagram site, Jackie, she is one of the designers for McCall's. She did mention that they are starting to include a lot of plus sizes with, more wide ranges of plus sizes in the collections in the big four. So expect to see these size categories here, this 20W to 28W and 30W to 38W. This is something that McCall's and Butterick, I believe, they have done this in the past. They did have some patterns that went up to the 38W, but I think they're going to start including even more patterns. So look out for that. So this is a missus dress that is an asymmetrical pullover dress with cutouts. You have a decorative ring that's on I believe it's the left side of the body. You also have like this wraparound or this draped shoulder sleeve. It's really weird to explain, but I'll put the image here so you can see what it looks like. So one arm is sleeveless and the other one has like this draped sleeve that goes around the back of the neck towards the front and into your arm there. And then you have for your skirt, you have two different variations. You have a knee length variation, and then you have a above the knee variation. So I really like this. However, as I stated in many of my videos, I'm not one for cutouts. I don't like my back out. I don't like my muffin top showing. I don't like any of that. So this isn't a pattern that I would be buying personally. I have taken a poll over on Instagram, and this is very popular among my followers anyway. Most of the followers that follow me, they like this. And so this is probably going to be a popular one for many in the sewing community. So for the McCall's M8311, this is a size 4 to 12. I thought that this was a very odd size range. They went from plus size to really small, and there's like no in between. So we're missing the sizes 14 to, I believe, 20, like those regular sizes. And so I would like to see those sizes. Now, this is what it's saying on the website. It could be that they just haven't posted those sizes on the website. So just look out at your Joann's if you are interested in this and you are interested in the size 14 to 20. Look in your local Joann stores and your Hobby Lobbies and check and see if they have those sizes. If they do, please come back and let us know in the comment section below, because I really think that that's a really huge gap that we're missing for this size range. But anyway, it's basically the same pattern, same details, same length variations and sleeve variations, cutouts with the that little D ring that's decorative on the side as well. The only difference is the size. So that's the McCall's M8311. Then there's the McCall's M8322. Now this is a pattern that comes in two different size groupings. So you have the 6 to 14 and the 16 to 24. Unfortunately, this one does not come in the plus sizes. So I don't really like that. Now, this is for your average sewist, so people who have average skills in sewing. So this is a short and ankle length gathered dress that have a midriff and tucks. Views include a bodice with narrow shoulders and straps, and a halter bodice. Now, this dress is very similar to a few McCall's dresses that have come out just recently. I'll put a few of those patterns here. If you have those patterns, I feel like you can definitely use those patterns in place of this pattern. This is a really cute dress, and I would definitely make it. However, I feel like there are some patterns I believe that I have in my stash that are similar to it, and so I will not be purchasing this particular dress pattern because there's so many different similar halter style dresses that I already have and that I already own. And I'm pretty sure many of you have as well. With that said, I do like the different variations. You do have a V-neck variation, still have that midriff. I also like the version that is not, it goes up around the neckline, the halter version. So I like that one. I think that it is a cute dress, but at the same time, I feel like we've seen this before. So I won't be purchasing that one. And then there's the McCall's M8312. Now this dress I do not like. There were a few people over on Instagram who messaged me privately and they just fell in love with this. I don't see it. Maybe some of you do. I don't see it, but it's not my style. I don't really gravitate towards big like Moomoo style dresses and things like that, just simply because I don't think it's flatter figuring for me. But having that said, I do think that it is a dress that I have seen many people wear that it looks great on them, but it's not something that I actually like personally. Now, this particular dress, this 8312, I believe it is, it reminds me of the McCall's M0890. So go ahead, check that out. And let me know what you think of that particular pattern. So there was a couple of patterns I thought this looked like we've seen this before. And so again, you may have that pattern in your stash. And if you do, you probably won't even need to go out and get this one. There's the McCall's M8320, which is Mrs. Tunic and dresses. Again, you have a tier type dress. You have buttons going down the center front of the bodice. You have an option of long sleeve or short sleeve. Again, this one reminds me of the New Look 6719. So this is a recent pattern that just came out in New Look. I believe it was last year. And so it's very close, I think, in time in terms of releasing the New Look pattern and then releasing this pattern. Very similar to me. And I think if you have that in your stash, if you have the New Look pattern in your stash already, you can definitely alter that pattern to get something that looks like this pattern here. Now, this pattern comes in extra small to medium and then large to 2XL. It's a pullover button front pin tuck tunic and dresses. It come in 2 different lengths. Views include short sleeve, puff sleeve with tucks, and 3/4 length sleeve with elastic hem. And the tunic has a lower gathering for your ruffle. View B is tiered and you can add decorative trim. And view C is above the knee with trim. So, I mean, you have all these different options that you can choose for this pattern, and you can definitely hack this pattern as well. But again, if you have that New Look in 6719, this is basically almost identical. You might have to do a few tweaks to get that same pattern, because that pattern is a top pattern, but you could definitely make that into a dress pattern. It has the pin tucks going on the neckline. You have the buttons going down the center front. It's again almost identical. There's the McCall's M8321. This one reminds me of the New Look 6696 and the New Look 6508. Both of those patterns are very similar to this. It's not completely the same, but very similar. And the reason why I'm pointing out these similarities is because you can definitely save your money and use these patterns if you already have them in your stash. I do think that they are cute patterns, but they are patterns that we are seeing again. They're re-releases. So this pattern here is a pull-on open back tie. It has a tie in the back. So the difference between this dress and the other two patterns that I mentioned is that you don't really have that tie in the back. I believe with the new look pattern, it's just the open back. You also have different panels for your skirt. This one doesn't have panels for the skirt. And I believe you have panels for your bodice as well. But again, in terms of the style, it's pretty much the same with the open back. You can definitely add ties. It's not that hard to draft long rectangles and put them into the seam of your dress for the new look dress if that's what you want to do. So it's really not that hard to do that. And then for the new look 6508, I believe that one is the one that have like the buttons you put buttonholes and buttons on the end of the bodice of the bodice, and then also on the skirt, and then you have like these button details on it, but still you have an open back. And if you want the ties, obviously you can add the ties to those as well. So very similar. This particular McCall's dress, the M8321, it has narrow shoulders with scrap bodice and is above the knee. So you have the option to do the scrap bodice, or you have the option to do the full bodice, the bodice that have the full front and back for your bodice. And then you also have the neckline is elasticized. So you do have an elasticated neckline. That I would say is maybe the main difference between this pattern and the two new look patterns, is that you have elastic in the neckline there. And then there's the McCall's M8313. I haven't really seen any patterns like this. I know we do have some patterns that, you know, you have these really wide leg jumpers that have come out, I believe, there were a few in 2012 and 2016. You know, we had a few of those come out, but this is a little bit different because, you know, they are, you know, more maxi. You do have some options of putting trim on the jumpsuits, which I think is really interesting. Again, I'm going to have to go back to my original statement when we talked about the simplicity patterns that just recently came out. I am not one for jumpsuits. I'm just not. I'm not a jumpsuit person, so I will not be purchasing any rompers or jumpsuits anytime soon. McCall's M8314. I do not like this jumper at all. I was talking to a friend of mine over on Instagram, and she messaged me and she said that this looks like the squirrel style or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she said, but I was like, ever since she said that, I can't get that image out of my head. But yeah, it's like this bat wing jumpsuit, and it just looks awkward to me. It's not something that I would wear personally. You do have different variations here. You have a romper, which is like a short, and then you have the pants. So this is a caftan style romper, which is why you have like the bat wings, you know, on the jumpsuit. It comes with a sash, and you have a front opening with a hook and eye closure. And then views B and C, you have an opening for your sash that you can pull through, pull your sash through the opening. And then view C also has arm openings at the shoulder line for a cowl drapey look. And then you have an elasticated hem. There's the McCall's M8324. A lot of people like this over on my Instagram account as well. I feel like we needed to see a little bit more balance between cutouts and those type of, you know, garments that have crop tops and things like that. And then also garments or patterns that don't have those things, because not all of us are sewing cutouts and crop tops for summer. Sometimes we just want a really lightweight shirt or something like that. And so I feel like in this collection and in the previous collection, we needed to see a little bit more with a little bit more balance instead of having a lot of cutouts and a lot of crop tops. I feel like we need a little bit more balance. With that said, this is a cute top. It has an open back. This reminds me of a McCall's pattern that came out not last summer, but the summer before last. And I'll show you what that looks like. I can't remember the number, but I'll show you what that looks like here. The size range for this one is 6 to 14 and 16 to 24. I will say the difference between this top and the McCall's pattern that came out several years ago is that that pattern does not have a cutout in the back. This pattern does. And so if you're looking for a pattern that's similar to this that don't have the cutout in the back, I would say that pattern would be for you. But if you want something that is similar to this here and you want this cutout, then you might be interested to get this pattern instead. So this is classified as an easy pattern. You have an open back, crop top that have short 3/4 length and long sleeves. You have a hook and eye for your back opening. View A has facings for the back. View B, you have ties in the back. And then view C has a crisscross tie detail in the back. I'm sorry, in the back, and it ties to the front. Sorry. And then you have separate pattern pieces for cup sizes. So you have A, B, C, and D cup sizes for this pattern. There's the McCall's M8323. I haven't seen any patterns that's similar to this recently, like any recent patterns that's similar to this. I do know that for view, I don't know what view that is. I think it's view C that has like that tank top style. That is a very common shirt, especially for like swimwear. And so we see that quite often. But in terms of like the view that the model is wearing, we don't really see shirts like this all this often. And so I think that that's really cool. This is an average top made for knit fabrics, made with knit fabrics. It's a pullover knit top. View A is a halter top with rings. And view B is asymmetrical, one shoulder top with double straps. View C is a tank style with cutouts, and you can purchase a rectangle ring for that version as well. And view D is a bolero jacket with long sleeves. So I think that that's really interesting, and I would definitely make the little bolero thing, which I think would be fun. McCall's M8325. This is also a pattern I thought looked very familiar, and I'll tell you the pattern that I thought that it looks like, but let me tell you what the features are here first. This is a Mrs. top. On the website right now, it's just saying that it's in sizes large to 2XL, so large to 2XL. I haven't seen any other sizes on the website. That might change here in the future, so keep your eye out for that. But right now it's saying that the sizes that are available are large to 2XL. This is classified as very easy, so it's going to be for your beginners. It's a learn to sew pattern. You have pin tucks going along the front of the bodice. It's a pullover pin tuck blouse that have back openings. View A pin tucks are stitched horizontally, and it's alternated. And tops have ruffle, short and puff sleeves, and view C have a lower ruffle. Now this top reminds me of the Simplicity S9546. Now this just came out, it was just released not too long ago. And so I feel like it's just way too soon to have another pattern that's very similar that is just basically named under McCall's instead of Simplicity. So yeah, it's very similar to that pattern there. So just keep that in mind. If you have the Simplicity S9546, you might want to go ahead and give that one a try and sew that one up before getting this one and comparing the two. You might find that both of them are very, very similar. We have a tiered maxi skirt, and that is McCall's M8326. Maxi skirts are a dime a dozen. We always see maxi skirts. Although I'm really glad that they keep pushing out, you know, a lot of these maxi skirts, because a lot of these skirts, once they stop producing them, it's really hard to get a copy on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, that's not within that that $199 price range that we love to pay. And so I'm glad that we have this. But with that said, it's very similar to a lot of the patterns that we already have seen before. I believe it's the McCall's M8040. I can't remember the number, but it's a tiered maxi skirt that is still available for purchase on the McCall site. So if you have that pattern, obviously you can sew that pattern. But this is a pattern that is fully elasticated, whereas the other McCall's pattern, it has a flat front waistband and elasticated back. Personally, I would rather sew the version with the flat front waistband and elasticated back. However, this is a very cute skirt as well. I love all the multiple tiers. You have different variation and options. Like I said, if I didn't have a tiered skirt in my collection already, in my stash, I would probably get this. I would run to get it. But having that said, I have a few maxi dresses and a few maxi skirts. And so I'm not going to be purchasing this because it's just a maxi tiered skirt. So yeah, just check your stash and see if you have any of those, if you are liking that style. Then there's the McCall's M8327, which is a knit skirt. The McCall's M8328, it's just basically another variation of the McCall's M8327. The 8327 come in sizes 4 to 12 and 14 to 22, whereas the M8328 come in sizes 20W to 28W and 30W to 38W. So you have plus sizes for this pattern here. The McCall's M8330, this is a women's swimsuit. This is probably my favorite pattern of the collection, just simply because even though it is basic, I don't have a swimsuit pattern like this. It also comes in plus sizes, which I absolutely love. And it also comes in smaller sizes. So your smaller sizes are from 4 to 12 and 14 to 22. And your plus sizes are 20W to 28W and 30W to 38W. So I really like the fact that they have included the plus sizes into this collection so that everyone can take an advantage of purchasing this pattern. Now, the bikini set, it's something that I've seen before, and I believe I have something similar in my stash from a long time ago. But I really like the one shoulder bodysuit there, which I don't have a copy of anything like that. Now this one is rated for your average sewist, and it comes with, or not comes with, but you can buy a ring to embellish your swimsuit. And then also it includes 2 tops with straps, a high cut bikini bottom, and a one-piece swimsuit. So you have different options there. You have many different options to choose from if you want to make a swimsuit. And so I think this is probably my favorite pattern of the collection. I know that might sound weird, but it is one of my favorite of the collection. And I think if I get anything from this collection, it would probably be this because I like that bodysuit there. There's the McCall's M8306, which is a vintage pattern. Now, this vintage pattern reminds me of the Simplicity S8456 vintage pattern that came out. You do have a little bit of differences with the bodice. The bodice of the Simplicity pattern have thin straps, whereas this one here has a wide strap. You do have something different going on in the front there. So the sizes come in sizes 6 to 14 and 16 to 24. It's a Laura Ashley design. It's for your average sewist. It's a 1960s vintage style pattern. It's fitted with buttons going down the center front of the top without side seams. You have front tucks, lace trim, a flared peplum, and a waistline for your casing and a drawstring. And then the skirt has an elastic in the waist of the casing. So it's not a dress. So I misspoke. I thought it was a dress. So you have a top with a peplum, and then you have a skirt that is a tiered skirt. Now, if you look at that simplicity pattern, you have the option of making a dress. So the bodice is actually attached to the tiered skirt. And then you also have the option of making a tiered skirt as well. Then there's the McCall's M8318. This is another vintage Laura Ashley dress and blouses. It's rated for your average sewist. It's a 1980s vintage style pattern. You have, let's see here. You have a gathered pullover jumper and sundress with shoulder straps, front and back yokes, patch pockets, button back openings. View A has a lower ruffle and pocket ruffles. You have ruffles on your pocket. Short and long sleeve blouse variations, and you have front tucks and sleeves with gathered caps, collars, and you also have sleeve ruffles. So there's a lot going on there. You have many different views there. So I think if you are a lover of vintage style patterns, you probably would love this. And so, yeah, there's another vintage pattern. It's the McCall's M8319, which is a vintage skirt. This is a 1980s vintage skirt. You have, your skirts have a shaped waistband, back zipper opening, sizing pockets. A, B, and C are gathered skirts, and A, you can have, you can put belt loop carriers on view A. View B has front button opening for your skirt, and view C, you can add lace. Views D and E have flared skirts, and view E has a contrast lower band. So you have a lot of different options with that skirt. As I mentioned before, there are people over on Instagram, some of my followers on Instagram, who thought that this was one of the best collections that McCall's came out with. Unfortunately, I don't share that view, and that's okay. Like I said before, if there was a pattern that I would select from this particular collection, it would be the swimsuit. But other than that, I wouldn't purchase anything else from this particular collection. But what about you? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this latest release? If you did, let me know. And let me know what patterns you are considering buying as well. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun and enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Bye.